Hi, my name is Miles Indo, and you're watching CIE Fashion Magazine.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. This is Newt Mayenge with CIE Fashion Magazine, your source for fashion and entertainment. Today I'm here live at the PanaFest Media Junket, and I'm here with one of the most amazing actors I've ever seen. He's a director as well. He's been in movies such as, well, he's actually been in a video game such as Jurassic Park. He's been in Speed. He's been in Star Trek. He's been in Star Wars. The list goes on and on. I've watched you growing up. I'd like to welcome Carlos Carrasco. How you doing, Carlos?
I am just fine. I'm really, really happy to be here with you today.
Thank you so much for having us here. And before we get into your career, where are you from exactly?
I'm originally from Panama, the country of Panama, in Central America. When you look at the map and, you have North America and South America, and then that skinny little strip joining the two, that's Panama. That's where the Panama Canal is.
Oh, wow. So from Panama, you ended up in L.A. How did that happen, and how did you get into acting?
Well, it's a long story, but I grew up in Panama, finished high school there, and at the time, the Panama Canal was still being run by the United States. So they had a strip of land, where they had basically a whole American colony there, even military installations and everything, and it's all really in support of the canal. So it was quite a large community. They had their own educational system. You could go from grade school through to junior college. In the Canal Zone, and I managed to persuade my parents that I needed to go to the Canal Zone Junior College, and that's where I got started, and where I really had my first important acting teacher. I met this gentleman who was my mentor. He became my friend, my counselor, everything. And after my 2 years were up there, he said, "What are you going to do now?" And I said, "I think you have talent. I think you should go out into the world." And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have any money." And then he said, "Sit down." And he said, "We're going to fill out this scholarship application together." And because he had seen this announcement for a scholarship in the States for acting, and we filled the whole thing out together, he sent it out. Then he called me up at home about 2 months later and said, "Guess what? You're going to the States." And that's how I came to America, on an acting scholarship in the Midwest. I spent my next 6 years in the Midwest doing the scholarship thing and, going to grad school and everything. And then when I got through with that, and also trying to get my permanent visa in order, and after that I went to New York. Started to do theater in New York, did some Broadway, did some off-Broadway, did a lot of regional theater, which are the local theaters in different cities in the country, and just started to get my feet wet in film as well. And then had to do the West Coast thing, because that's what actors do. There's an old show business joke about an actor who in New York who says, "Oh, there's nothing happening here. I'm going to go to Hollywood." And an actor in Hollywood that says, "Oh, there's nothing going on here. I'm going to go to New York." And they get in their cars and they start driving and they meet somewhere around Kansas City, and they both go back, go back, Grass is always greener. But I moved to LA, to Hollywood, and I've been here. Actually, this is the longest I've lived anywhere in the States, because it started to click. And I started to get cast in good films and in television shows and everything. And I said, well, okay, I guess I'm here now. And that's the sort of shorthand version of how I got here.
Well, the talent level is an understatement, and you're very humble first and foremost. Now I want to talk about one specific role that you played, which I feel is one of the most impactful that I've ever seen. It was in a movie called Blood In, Blood Out. I would like for you to elaborate on that character that you played and how that experience was on that set.
Well, you are right. That movie has had a great amount of impact. It's about 30 years. Excuse me, I think I'm pinging.
I didn't know if that was me or you.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's make sure. Let me put this thing on.
We'll keep it going no matter what.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you about Blood In, Blood Out. It was directed by a gentleman named Taylor Hackford. And I was about into my second year or so here in Los Angeles. And my agent sent me the script, and they said, "We have an appointment for you with Taylor Hackford, and why don't you take a look at this thing?" Now, true confession time. I read it. I didn't like it. Because I've spent a lot of time in my life also doing advocacy for positive images for the Latinos and everything. And I start reading this thing, and kind of the first scene is like, oh, and then he rapes the guy. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, that's good representing. So believe it or not, I turned it down. You know, and they said, no, but this is, it's Taylor Hackford. I'm like, yeah, but, I'm being political here, whatever. And I kept doing my thing. Then a couple of months went by, and they called me again. And they said, they still haven't cast that role, and they'd really like to see you, and, and it's Taylor Hackford. And I was like, all right. I said to myself, I'll do this because I like my agents, and they're good people and everything, and they really want me to go, so I'll go on this appointment. So I did, and I have to confess that I kind of did a cold reading, because usually when you have an audition, you prepare and you thing, and I kind of like to go in practically off book, having worked it and made some choices and stuff. Well, I went in and I met Taylor, and the lead of the movie, because he had already cast Damien Chapa, and they were both so nice. And I said, let's start reading, and we started with the first scene between the two guys, and eventually worked our way through the entire script. And after every scene, Damien was excited. He was, and Taylor was so nice. He's such a gentleman. And I started feeling really guilty. I'm like, oh my goodness, these people are great. So we got through it, and it was a wonderful audition. I went home. A couple of hours later, my phone rings, and it's my agent. And she said, Taylor Hackford wants to know, because, I'm Afro-Latino. And back in that day, I used to have hair, but it was Afro hair. And my agent says, Taylor Hackford wants to know if you would straighten your hair. And I said, oh, why? I said, because he wants you to do that part, But it's part of the look, of the Popeye thing. And it's like, wow. So then they changed my mind. I said, okay, great, let's go for it, because I really like Taylor. And the adventure began, and off we went. And I'll never forget, we did some rehearsing and reading and stuff like that, but then we were shooting the first 5 weeks or so of shooting were the San Quentin prison sequences. And we actually had worked it out, Jasmine, my publicist here, was involved in that then and helping to work out that whole visiting and shooting in San Quentin thing. So they had prepared us. We went up, we toured. They gave us counseling about don't ever talk to the cons and blah, 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 and all this kind of this, put the fear of God into us. Yeah. And then we get up there to finally do the thing, and the very, very first scene was in this gigantic dining hall, and they had gotten 500 of the inmates to be extras, So suddenly, after all this, so when you see that movie and you see the prison sequences and you see the guys in the background, those are real guys.
Gentlemen guys.
Those are real deal, And so we got in there, we got set up, and of course, every bit of preparation that we had been put through immediately went out of the window, because he said, don't talk to them, don't fraternize with them, and then all of a sudden you're in a room surrounded by 500 of them. And they're coming up to you and go, hey, homie, what's going on? And what are you going to do? It's like, I'm not supposed to talk to you. It's like, we were there in the middle of it, and it was loud. One of the things that most struck me about being in that environment was just how loud it is, when you've got like 5,000 men all locked up and rattling their cages and stuff like that. So this whole thing about quiet on the set really meant get louder on the set, And I'll never forget that day. And also, this is also props to Taylor, because suddenly we were there. We're in this dining hall. The noise is echoing off the walls. Everybody's set up and ready like they're supposed to. The camera people, the crew, the actors. And all of a sudden, reality sets in. And everybody had that like glazed deer in the headlights look like, what do we do now? Yeah. And so there was like this moment of indecision. Like, this is never going to work. Yeah. And then I look at Taylor. And he always wears a red shirt. And he was up there in his red shirt. And you could tell he made the decision. He says, okay, let's go. Let's get that first shot. Let's get moving. And then everybody just sort of like robotically started doing what they were supposed to do. And it was horrible, but we had it first take, and then we kept going. And then even, the inmates got into it and like, oh, I see what's going on. Hey, this is great. And, that was a funny, funny moment. But it taught me something about leadership.
Really?
Yeah, he has that. He has that quality of like, okay, let's go. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. And he steps off the cliff. But it's so inspiring that you actually follow him off that cliff as well. And that's really a strong lesson that I've actually applied, when I'm directing, when I'm producing. It's like, there's a moment of like, come on, everybody, this is going to happen. Let's do this. Yeah. Now, as far as the character goes, it was just a lot of fun. I had a lot.
I can only imagine.
Because what I found when I did start to really get into it and explore it is that he's actually very funny.
You had a lot of comedic, you could see the undertones.
Yes, and I love that. I love to do comedy, and I thought, okay, I got the angle on the guy, and so it actually turned into a lot of fun playing that role, kind of almost doing a goof on the stereotype or whatever. And to this day, I get good laughs out of remembering, and people come up and they say, "What? Say the line, say the line."
That's exactly what I was about to elaborate on. I'm like, I could only imagine anywhere you go, people still look at you. Oh man, can you do something involving the movie or say something involving the movie? It's just so impactful. It's one of those ones where it just sticks. You have certain films that come and go, but that one, and specifically your character, just sticks. So now, moving forward, we're talking about the Panamanian Film Festival here. It's international, of course. What does this film festival mean to you as someone from, Panama?
Well, in a way, it's my private way of sort of giving something back to the community that I come from. Because as I said before, when I was young and trying to get into acting and stuff, there was nothing there. And my teacher was very wise because he saw that too. The only way I was going to have a career was to leave. However, now we're decades further on down the road, and there now is a film industry in Panama. And in particular, in the last decade or so, it's really been evolving and developing, growing by leaps and bounds, and they're producing quality level stuff now. Go up against any international thing. In fact, several films have toured the festival circuit, have been to Cannes, and it's just good material. And I thought, well, here I am in Hollywood, and why not facilitate some sort of exchange and exposure? Because I'm proud of my peeps and what they're doing. They're generating good stuff. And I said, it has to, how can I help? So that was the germ of the idea behind starting this film festival. The first year, we were very focused, on Panama and their filmmakers, and plus it was kind of rocky going because doing a film festival is a pretty large endeavor. So we called it Panama International Film Festival the first year, but then the second year we thought, let's open the door more. Let's represent more people. So we really started going after Central America as a region, the Caribbean as well. And, and it grew. And then by the third year, we're like, let's do everybody. I mean, it's like, because
Which makes sense.
Yeah, and it still serves the same purpose. It provides a platform. It provides exposure. We also made a strategic decision to feature more short films. Because when you're programming and you want to showcase people, short films work better for that. Because you can include more. You can include more people. So like, for example, this year, we're showing 40 films.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's huge.
That's 40 films.
It's amazing.
Yes. And only 2 are feature length. We're closing out every evening with a feature. But the rest of them are, anywhere from 2.5 minutes to some start getting to about 20 minutes in length. But that way, we can expose all of those people. And since we really opened up the door, I'm really proud to say that starting with last year and also this year, we have films from so many different countries, so many different destinations. This year, we have about 10, 11 countries represented, as well as the U.S. We have U.S. Latino films. We have films from Panama, of course, but we also have Argentina, we have Chile, we have Mexico, we've got, the whole community. because we decided to also rebrand the event as PanaFest, because we thought, you know what, let's just have a celebration. It's intended as a celebration of our art, our culture, our people, So starting with last year, it's like, let's just treat it like a big party, and include other elements. We had art, we had live music, so it's a good time. And that's what we're doing now.
That's amazing. So for those who want to continue to kind of see the progression of PanaFest and every film per se that has, that's involved in it, where can they see it, say, online or of some sort?
Well, our website is PIFFLA.com, which is actually Panamanian International Film Festival in LA. So PIFFLA.com is our website. The event is being held this year in downtown Los Angeles at the Los Angeles Theater Center, which we're very excited to be collaborating with. They have a brand new screening room there, it's state of the art, and they're very supportive. So we're looking forward to that. It's at here we go. PanaFest.
This is it.
Yeah. And it's at 514 South Spring Street in downtown Los Angeles, October 27th and 28th. And it's we have different price ranges, but they're very reasonable. We have like 9 different blocks of films. You can come to an individual block, for $7. What a great deal,
It's an amazing deal.
Or you can buy an all-day pass for $25, or you can buy the whole weekend for $40. So it's a great deal. Come to see PanaFest downtown, and and you're invited.
That means a lot, especially coming from you. Carlos, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for just the opportunity to interview you. Guys, PanaFest, please check it out. It's very important. It's growing every year. Please continue to check it out. Thank you so much. Newton Mayenge, Carlos, CIE, Carrasco.
There you go.
Carlos Carrasco. You got to put the R in the rolling in.
Roll those R's. Yeah.
This is Newton Mayenge with CIE Fashion Magazine. Thank you so much, guys. Signing out.